All right, welcome back, everybody. I am Master Wister Crofton, and this is the third video of the uh, uh, Melee and Isolation version of the Book of Four Things. Go back and watch the other two. Uh, talk about the first one is about line engagement, light engagement. The second one is about flanking at speed, flanking hard, flanking from close in. So this one's going to be about soft flanking, sort of how to flank when you're not in measure, and this is what you'll see a lot more of. And it's just as the various fighters maneuver around on the field, it forces lines to forces lines to fall back in places, to curve around. So if we'll take him out. If you remember in that previous video, we had this line run like this, so that they were all concentrated on this fighter, up close, immediately able to take this one out. And we talked about the ways to counter that. Soft flanking is, when Nemo out here trickles off this way, and this fighter starts to peel back. They're not in range, they're not fighting, but this fighter has to adjust to what Nemo's doing. And then Turtle comes along, and you can push this back this way. So that's what I mean by soft flanking. When you're maneuvering onto a flank to get access to a flank or to a backfield without having actually come to engagement distance, engagement range. Because in SCA Melee, everybody's engaged, so actually that should be fighting range, I guess. In SCA Rapier Melee, everyone's engaged at lay on. That's important to know. So fighting range. We're outside of fighting range. We can't hit each other, but we're still maneuvering for position and forcing the other one to counteract. And that's soft flanking. You see it in large battles. Whenever there's an exposed flank, one person, two people, maybe a whole unit starts walking around on that flank. If a unit is running at you, that is not the time to flank. That is not the time to kind of space out and go around on the sides, because that unit's going to run through the rest of your unit. Other than that, if a unit's moving slow, standing still, perfect time. Go around on their flank, get in their backfield, cause havoc. Especially if there's DFB. Like I talked about in the line engagement class video, their swords are right here. Their defense is right here. Don't be where their defense is. Be where their defense isn't, and then you can destroy the line. Even if there's not DFB, I talked about ways to make a line pay for letting you get in the backfield. So, what to do? Fundamentally, it's what I just walked through. This guy goes out here, and I'm moving this dinosaur out of the way just so that there's space, so you can see it. If these two units are coming at each other, and this one starts to go, and this guy's trying to pick, Nemo's trying to pick his path, her path, for where to, for how she's going to get to the flank. If she's looking at the line here, she doesn't want to walk at her opponent, because then they just do this. She wants to walk to a point sort of just outside and beyond the opponent. So her path is going to be this way as this fighter comes forward. If this fighter tries to counter, she keeps angling out. And that eventually puts her over here, outside of and behind her opponent. At about here, this opponent's going to stop going forward and start coming backwards to track. Because at this point, the opponent's guarding the flank, trying to force the engagement, so that this opponent can keep Nemo from getting in the backfield and killing everybody. The advantages of it are, the instant Nemo starts moving, Smilodon, has to respond, and is now under Nemo's control to a certain degree. So the first one that moves forces the other one to respond. This is a good reason to take the initiative. Don't just stand there and wait for your opponent to do something, because they probably will, and you don't, and you want to control what they can do. The other thing is that by being the first one to move, Nemo gets to determine where the contact happens. And this can be important for things like if Nemo wants to move in tight and keep the action right here, so that this line is still piled up on top of itself. Okay, because that's useful in some cases, because maybe the goal of this team is to soft flank out around and pile as I like to say, you push everybody into a pile of bodies and then you stab the pile until it's a pile of dead bodies. That is my preferred approach. Well, that's my preferred plan for everything, but it kind of it's a matter of how you get them there. Or Smilodon may be a god of death, so you want to pull Smilodon off. So Nemo goes this way, maybe Turtle too, but yeah, really just Nemo has to. And now these three fighters, these four fighters, are down their god of death. And if Nemo is not a god of death, if Nemo is just somebody who can go out there and stay alive and keep the god of death looking at Nemo, if Nemo is, say, very good at defense like a turtle instead, well, now this fighter's neutralized. This side has lost some skill assets, and they're off here doing who knows what, and it doesn't matter what, so long as Turtle stays alive. While the rest of these fighters, still continue to flank and crush the enemy here. Right. So then, that's the basics of that. Everything about what to do once you've got on a flank applies. If you're out here, if you get into the backfield, do DFB, join the line and foul blades, or join the line and gain line engagement, and then just kill the line from up close and personal. If there's no DFB, that's the way to make them all die quickly. And the timing for it, the reasons for it, timing is going to happen further out, right? You can't start soft flanking from here. Here you have to run. But soft flanking is easier to do. One person can initiate it, even if it's not the plan. If you're up close, that run the right, run the left, everybody has to be ready for it. Out here, Turtle says, breaking off, and starts breaking off. And Nemo says, wait, what? Why? Hopefully, this is not a stupid thing to have done. Hopefully, Turtle has some clue what they're doing. Or they've been told to. Or they say breaking off, and Nemo says, no, come back here, and so Turtle comes back. And that is why communication is important, to make calls like that on the fly. So, yeah, some things that happen in these situations. Turtle starts breaking off. Well, let's switch these two for reasons. Let's say these two start breaking off, and Ankylosaurus moves to track. And now they're soft flanking out here, right? And right now it's still looking like it's just going to be 5 one-on-ones, just not in a straight line. But here, Nemo can break out. And as Smilodon takes a step to intercept, Turtle can step in and basically force Smilodon to reorient back to engaging Turtle. Now Turtle's got this 2-on-1, but Turtle's good at defense. So Turtle's just going to kite. Just, it's a League of Legends thing, according to my friends who play League of Legends. You get their attention, and then you fall back like you're flying a kite, and they come out with you. And you get them way out of position. Meanwhile, Nemo is way back here, and probably Smilodon forgot to tell anybody. Because Smilodon was turning to face Nemo, and Turtle's sword came at him, and Smilodon went, oh crap. And Nemo had the opening and is gone into the backfield. How do you stop it? Same way you stopped the close flank, the run right, run left. If Nemo starts flanking out this way, Smilodon starts flanking out to meet, not falling back to counter. Or they start soft flanking, and the option always is charge. Your opponent started to flank you. There's this spaced out line here that can't quite do you any harm. These 3 and 4 can blast through, while I think this is a squid. It's only got 6 tentacles. Maybe it's a sea star, but it's got a head. While fancy dinosaur here, make sure that the sea star, whatever this is, can't get to him. And yeah, these 2 get bowled over. Maybe this one gets engaged. These 3 can break around and come polish off these last 2. So, but that requires being able to sort of call the rush them as you see them start to break out, and have your team ready and able to execute, safely rushing through the opponent's team while not getting stabbed in the back by the guy they just had to run past, or who was about to try to engage them, but they weren't in range, so they can't stab you. If you turn your back on somebody in range, you deserve to get stabbed in the back. So that's soft flanking. Next video probably will be 2 videos worth of talking as well, and that's going to be what in the original class Sir Corby called charging. In Rapier, it can be thought of as close engagement from inside measure, and it looks like a few different things, but they all fall under that category of being inside the reach of their swords and killing them, or going through the line. Thank you all, and I will see you in the next video.